rip, boom, puts it in my t-shirt and says, "Get in there." I'm like, okay.
Hi, welcome to Music Behind the Lens. I'm your host, Martin Bowen. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Music Behind the Lens. Today's guest is the house photographer for the Barrowland Ballroom, Gareth Fraser. He's also known as Third Mile. In this episode, we discuss how he gets started in music photography, how he became the house photographer for the Barrowlands, and also we chat about 5 iconic images, and we'll chat about them as well. But meantime, let's go into Gareth's interview. Here it is. So, Music Behind the Lens, Gareth Fraser, thanks for coming and taking part in my project, Music Behind the Lens. Very much appreciated.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so, the beginning. Tell me, when did photography become something serious for you?
It happened without me realising, if that makes sense. My uncle, he's in his 80s now. My uncle is into photography, and when I was young, he got me a camera. And it was a point and shoot. He got my camera. So we're talking in the 80s. And he would always go and take photos. He went on trips. He went to India to take photos. He's done all sorts of stuff in slides, and just photos have always been very much a sort of father figure with him and me. So I was always exposed to it, and he'd got me little cameras and things and so on. So that kind of happened, and I grew up into my teens. And then in my early 20s, digital cameras came out. I was never really into, you film and you take it to Boots and you get it.
Yeah.
Thing, and that was it. I was never into learning how to develop my own thing. It just wasn't available to me. But then digital cameras came out, and I love tech. And I bought myself a Kodak 1.3 megapixel.
All right, yeah, I have the Kodaks. In fact, I've still got mine.
Aye, so I've still got
That's a 3 megapixel mine is.
Oh, well, that was 3 times better than mine, right? So I had a Kodak, one of them, and I loved it. And I just loved digital photography and computers and the ability to go and do it that way. So I kind of did that, but then I started taking them to concerts in the crowd because they're just little point and shoots. And then I was getting quite good at that, and I loved it. And I've always loved concerts. I've always loved music. That's been my thing. And funnily enough, it's his daughter that introduced me to concerts. So it happened that way. I would be taking photos and I would get annoyed because they were crap. They were just not good photos, you know. Not by any stretch, but I wanted to do it and I couldn't help myself but do it. So there was an urge inside me to take photos, even though I knew they were crap photos. I just wanted a memory of the thing. And then I upgraded to a Panasonic Lumix prosumer something or other with a fixed lens, but it was like 52x zoom on it, some nonsense like that. And then that was it. I was a punter at Download Festival, and I've got a photograph, and I was trying to find it for this conversation, and I will find it and share it with you, of Aerosmith on stage.
Right.
And I got it printed massive. I got it it's like this photograph. It's incredible. And I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah, that's the feeling that I've had.
And
I still get it.
So that's how I got into photography. My uncle pushed it, loved it, and very much drove my desire of cameras and photos, and my natural love of concerts and music just started taking it in the crowd.
Yeah, because it goes on to a kind of second question I've got within this chapter, and what pulled you specifically into music photography?
It was that. It was. I would always have my digital camera with me, and there were, in those days, and we're not talking like big professional SLRs. We're talking little pocket things.
Most venues can get in with that anyway.
Yeah, so I had a little Pentax Optio, and I had a little Canon something or other, little tiny, thing. The sort of thing that you would have on a table at a wedding, one of these wee distant ones. And so I'd always have it in my pocket, and I'd be taking photos. So I was always trying to, like Leeds Festival, all as just a punter. And I'm taking photos, and then I'd be home, and I'd have Photoshop, and I'd be learning. I'd like trying to crop it in and just make it look as good as it could. And I was like, I want to do this, That's how I got into music specifically. It was always going to be music. I shot a friend's wedding because they asked me to do it. Don't want to do weddings.
Yeah,
don't want
I've been there. I've done a few. I enjoy it to a point, but it's very regimental. It's very hard to organise people. I don't know. There's just something about it. I take my hat off to those that do it.
Well, I've got a friend Murray, who's a wedding photographer. He's a brilliant wedding photographer.
Yeah.
And when I look at his photos, personality comes across.
Yeah.
And that's a gift. That he's got that. But the stress of, if you're shooting a gig and you miss the shot, or the band come back round again because you don't get the thing, you can do the next year. Weddings are once. If you don't get that shot. I don't want that.
No, I know. I mean, the last question in this section, before we move on to all about the craft and the gear you use, and etc. What do you remember most about your first time in the pit?
This is a cracking story.
Good.
That little Kodak camera, that little nonsense 1.3 megapixel. Very early. I don't think I've never told this story. Most people think I know when my first time in the pit officially is. Right?
Okay.
I wasn't meant to be in the pit.
Right. Okay.
I was. Mark Graney is an incredibly underrated Irish singer-songwriter. He had a band in the early 2000s called JJ72. And they were headlining the Garage in Glasgow, Donald's venue. And I was there as a fan. I'd bought my ticket and don't know who I was there with, but I was there, and I was right down on the barrier. And JJ72 were playing, and they had a female bassist, and there's a sort of 3 or 4 piece band, just brilliant wee sort of punk but indie punk band. And I had my camera, and I'm taking photos of the band. And this guy in the pit, I'm seeing him, and he's like this. And he turns around and he sees me, and he goes, "Rip," boom, puts it in my t-shirt and says, "Get in there." I'm like, okay. So I run and I go in the pit and the thing, and I'm taking all these photos, and it's all, and I was like, okay, how did this happen? But fine. So I'm taking all these photos and stuff, and then all of a sudden this guy, like bull charging in a china shop, just came straight to me, grabbed me, and he went, "That's song 4, get out." I was like, I had no idea what he was talking about. So I went back out, and the guy came up and he went, "Sorry, you weren't allowed in for the first 3. And he gave me his email, and I sent him the photos, and that was it. So that was my first experience in the pit. And I was like, so that was early 2000s, and I had never been in the pit for about another 10 to 12 years.
All right, okay.
But that was the one. So it's funny because it's such a wee place to be. Like,
I know.
You know what? It's like, I was in the crowd a minute ago.
I know. That's a wonderful story.
That's my first pit experience, and then nothing for 12 odd years.
And now you're doing mostly work at the Barrowland.
That's my pit.
That's your pit, mate.
My house.
I've not been for ages. I'll need to get back. I'll need to pick a few out soon.
I'm the custodian of it for now.
Good.
Love it. Love it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm obviously one of many for the academies, and I'm very flattered. And when I go, I feel quite proud that I'm representing the venue. I take it on board, and I'm taking it on for the academy group. So that's the way I look at it as well. If
this is a conversation I want to have now, then for me, I'm representing the Barrowland, and I'm the resident house photographer. Yeah. And I find that it's not about I'm taking a photograph of a band. I am. It's not like I'm taking a concert shot, which you could take in any room.
Yeah.
It's beyond that. For me, the responsibility is house photographer. So take a photograph of the house.
Yeah, exactly.
The experience, the performance. It took me a while. I'm coming up in 2 years officially doing that role, and I've probably been doing it for about 4, but unofficially. And now I got asked in the May of 2 years ago, officially to do it. And it took me a while to realise it wasn't just, oh, this is a cracking photo of whomever it is that's on stage. Actually, I'm taking a photograph of the experience. I'm taking a photograph of the crowd. I'm taking a photograph of the room, what it looks like. And I have a debate with another photographer friend who she hates shooting in it. She's decided controversially because everything.
Best venue in Scotland.
Because best venue in the world. Come on, man.
Oh, okay. Let's get that right. You're right. Sorry, take that back.
No, she says all photos look the same because they've all got that roof in them. And I'm like, yeah, I'm photographing the roof of the band.
That's the point I was about to say. It's the roof, and a lot of the bands talk about it.
I completely get her point, and I went through this a little bit as well. As a photographer, and I'm in there every other night shooting in the same spots, in the same room with the same roof. And she says, sometimes it just gets boring because all the photos look the same. But and it's taken me a while for it, is what it's allowed me to do is grow.
Yeah.
Because you need, what's different? Give me a different angle, give me a unique something. And one of the photos we'll talk about later, there's a very unique angle in the Barrows. And that's important. And I think if you can incorporate the architecture of the building and that iconic roof, then it's like the sign outside.
Oh, I know.
My camera roll on my phone, I've got more photographs of that on the outside. You know, it's like every time I'm there, it's like you can't help yourself, and everyone's outside taking pictures. And you're like, of course. See, what's interesting? So my involvement with the Barrowland's an interesting one. 2012, 2013, on Twitter, the Barrowland Twitter account put out a request saying, has anyone got any tickets from the Barrowlands?
All right.
And I've got all mine. And at that point, it was 200 plus. And I decided to, and so I messaged them. I replied to the Barrowland on my Twitter account, because I had I had a blog at the time called Music Scramble. And Music Scramble, so I replied and said, look, I've got all mine. Why? Could you come into the office, please, and bring them? So I was like, well, not passing this opportunity up. Yes, I'm coming down to the office. So my wife and I went down to the office one day and met Tom Joyce, the general manager, and the guy Andy that runs the Twitter. And he's like, what we're doing is we're going to scan tickets, Barrowland tickets, and we're going to use them for big billboards around Glasgow. We're going to put them up in just billboards sort of thing. Can we scan these and we'll get them back to you, kind of thing. And I was like really nervous. I was like, no, I've collected these. These are my. I'm going to leave them with you. And I'm thinking, it's the Barrows. Don't be daft. Yeah, go. And I was so nervous. And they scanned them and made the big prints and all the rest of it. And we were sitting chatting, and Tom, the general manager, said, in passing, I'll maybe pass on your details to a journalist. She's a writer called Nuala Naughton. She's writing a book on the Barrowland, and she wants to know the gig history and stuff. And I was like, I can help with that, because I've been trying to get, and I keep like filing cabinet brain, my wife calls it, filing cabinet brain of, I know who supported, I know that gig was meant to be here but it moved to there, and all that kind of stuff. I have that in my head. And cut a very long story short, I ended up working with Nuala on that book, and she was so kind to give me the last few chapters of the book. I wrote them.
All right.
And it's the gig history. And it's statistics up until 2013 of who played, when they played, and I was out talking to people on social media. Who was at this gig? Have you got tickets? Can we send us this? And just curating it all. And we went in, Andy, the Twitter guy, and myself went into the office, and we went through all the old booking diaries.
All right, yeah.
And here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure, cross-check, and we get this rule about, we need at least 2, preferably 3 verifiable sources for this gig happened at that time and date, and this was the support. And we created the gig gallery. And at the end of that, when the book launched, Tom said, we're thinking of doing open doors. You know, Glasgow City Council does open doors tours. We're thinking of doing our first ever open doors. Would you be interested to be one of the people to walk people around? Because you know so much about the building. Yes. And I've done that every other year or every year, however frequently they do it, ever since.
All
So
right.
I've been involved with the Barrowland, doing the tours, the history, understanding, getting to know the family, understanding the family history, how it came about. When the original one burned down in 1958, the one that we all know and love was reopened in 1960. So all of that, and knowing all the nooks, the crannies, Biffy Clyro putting those lyrics on the stairs for the Biffy Land gigs, and why that happened and how long they were meant to be there. They were meant to get taken down after the gigs.
Right, okay.
And that's what, 2014, so
Yeah.
we've been up for 12 years now.
Yeah.
And how the fabric of that building evolves and develops, and it all just
Yeah.
becomes part. So I got heavily involved in that, and I've been involved with the Barrowland all that time. So I was very lucky because I had that relationship, was there, and I quite liked taking photos at gigs, and I had a small camera and things. So you can see how the opportunity arose, and every so often I was like, is there any chance I could take, we don't really do photos, we're not really, they didn't really have social media the same way, we're not really that thing. And it was like, but there's a history and an archive, and we've got all this other stuff, you kind of need an archive, visual history. So I get given a couple of passes for things. Arcade Fire played as the Reflectors, and I shot that, and that was in that with the old pit.
Love that pit.
The old love, yeah.
I loved it. I've got a tone in my voice.
Martin Gray, who used to do a lot of the photography in the Barrowland, he's responsible for all the brilliant photos that are, the black and white murals at the back of the venue you'll see over by the bar. So that's all his photos, collage of some of his photos. You can tell from the artists, there's Texas and Travis and all these kind of bands are there. But if you look carefully, it's the old pit. With the bars across.
I need to have a look at that.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. But so that was my sort of first experience. I did that just and I was, as a favour, was allowed to, and it naturally evolved from there.
It must be a great feeling to go in there and be part of that history as well.
I mean, I am the photographer in the Barrowland, and I don't say that lightly or take it with any form of ego or thing, because I love the venue, and I've always loved the venue. I mean, I had a birthday party in the venue. I love it, and I get history there, and I tell the history. And I've taken MTV Europe round. I did a BBC radio documentary with Vic Galloway. Took him round on a tour, and that's a beautiful radio thing. That was broadcast on BBC Radio immediately after the Queen's speech on Christmas Day. And all these kind of things. And then recently did one that's now been broadcast, and it's on iPlayer, with the Antiques Road Trip on BBC. So I'm in that, running around, and it's all the history side.
I'll put the link on in the description for it.
But that for me is, so my love for my love for music and my love for the Barrowland came long before being photography. That wasn't that's my target, and I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to cut through it, and no, it's natural, sort of organic, and being involved, relationships, knowing people, asking, and then being asked. Because I was phoned by the office, and the general manager and said, "Would you do this job?" Yes, I absolutely would. Yes, I will.
No, I think you're the right person for the job.
Well, thank you.
Just going by what you tell me about it, and how much you love and the history, and you keeping all those ticket stubs, and helping out with the book, and it's just a perfect fit for me. If I was a manager, I'd be hiring you straight away as well.
You need to know the room, Martin, and I don't mean that sarcastically. It took me a while to realise that, as I said earlier, knowing the room, you're photographing an event that's happening in a room. It happens to be a concert, it happens to be an artist. I mean, I shot Liam Gallagher in there when him and John Squire did it, and everyone was there, and they're all shooting Liam, and it's like, look at Liam's in the Barrowland. Take a photograph of the Barrowland, because that's happening, and it's all of that, and knowing places or little hidey holes or little angles that just from knowing the room, not from being in it lots in the pit. Because jokes about the iconic roof aside.
Because I've been through the back, like I mentioned earlier on with Dogtooth, and I was on the stage doing the video, and I noticed some things that, didn't know that was there. walking around the back that you had to have torch where you were going and fall.
Well, it's like the Australian oak pillars that are along the sides. It's Canadian maple and Australian oak as the wood in the venue, and the pillars, they carry on round and round the back.
Okay.
And the wooden floor, which was laid in the summer of 1960, it carries on round the back, and the stage is built on top and all of that. So
it's amazing.
It's incredible.
And the thing is, I watched a girl who works for stage truckers. I don't know
She did a TikTok video of the load-in.
The load-in,
Yes.
did you see it?
Oh yeah.
And it was nice to see it, because I'd never realised, and they're pulling them all up, and the hard work that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, that crew are brilliant.
So that's fascinating. Let's talk about the craft.
Okay.
And obviously a few questions in that, but they may mould into one. So, but what camera system are you using, and why are you using it?
So today, or do you want the potted history?
Potted history would be good.
So I had that Panasonic Lumix prosumer thing. I don't know what model it was. We're reflooring our loft at the moment, which is a boring conversation, but I found it.
Okay.
I found it about 4 days ago, and the battery pack, and the charger, and I've not put them all together yet, but I'm planning on it. And
I would use it retro.
I was debating taking it into the pit.
Yeah.
Because it's got prosumer, it's got manual settings and stuff on it, and so what's the worst that can happen? Yeah. It's not the camera you use, it's a photo you take. And there is a lot of snobbery and a lot of gatekeeping that I've seen and overheard other people say, why are they in here taking that with that? And who cares?
It doesn't matter.
It's the photo.
It's a conversation I'm having over these interviews, and people say it doesn't matter about the gear, although Westy kind of touched, he believes that gear has helped him to a point.
I do too, and I'll get to that. But it shouldn't be a barrier to entry.
Right.
And it shouldn't be, well, I mean, there you go. I was in the pit with JJ72 with a wee 1.3 thing.
That's good.
But so I had that Lumix. I've got a little Pentax Optio something or other, which I didn't really use. It was a wee snapshot thing. But my uncle, my wife wanted to get me a DSLR as a present, and she had no idea where to start. And she went to my uncle, the guy who taught me photography, and said, what should we get? And in the end, she got me vouchers we will go and buy a camera. And he was very much you need to buy Canon. You need to buy Canon because the colour profile's this, and the best glass in the industry, and so on. And very much his opinion, and he's right in so many ways. Couldn't afford full frame, so got a crop sensor. It was a 600D, Canon 600D, and that was about 2016, 2017. And then I shot so many gigs with that because I had my blog, and I wanted to do the photos for to do reviews of gigs, not just music, but I wanted my own photos for that. I didn't want to use other people's photos. I think it's fair to steal other people's work and copyright and all that kind of stuff. I decided that I was gonna, so I've been shooting with that Canon, and then the problem with the crop sensor on the Canons is high ISO, low light, grain, quality, especially at the level I was at. I'm shooting the sort of the King Tuts of the world, which, whilst a revered venue, doesn't have the best lighting in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so the grain and stuff, my photos, I was getting really frustrated because I love really crisp, clear images.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I really want crisp, clear, and so I saved up and I bought myself a 6D Mark II, which is Canon full frame, entry level Canon full frame, but Canon full frame's best I could afford. And I shot that all the way through. I mean, absolutely like a speedo in an old car. The frame count just went round and round, and I shot that. But I only had certain lenses. I had a 35mm lens, a 50, and a 70-200.
Right.
So that dictated my photography style as well, very much so. And then I was working for the bars, I was shooting in the bars all the time, and I was starting, so this is Westy's point, I was starting to feel held back, and I needed to move. The camera was starting to show quality, and I tend not to compare and say, oh, that person's photo is better than mine or not, because one, they probably are, but two, don't compare, because you need to take your own photos and for you first of all, you know. But I knew that I was missing shots because either the lens thing was wrong or the quality of ISO, just, it wasn't right. I knew it was time to go, and I shot Canon for, what is that, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Rachel Cuthbert, another photographer in the scene, I know her really, really well, very, very good friend. She started with Sony Alpha Mark III.
Right.
And she'd been trying to convince me this mirrorless Alpha is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm Canon.
Well, I'm the same, I keep thinking.
And I'm looking at Canon mirrorless, and I'm looking at lenses, and I don't want teleconverters and all these kind of things. And I was thinking, I just can't afford any of this. I just can't.
Yeah.
And Rachel was like, no, and then I was looking at her photos and had a little play with the camera, and I thought, this is lovely. I really like it. I really like it. And the technology is modern and so on. So in the January of, beginning of last year, I was like, right. And she's like, oh, it's on Sony are doing a sale, and it's at a very good price. This
all photographers are the same.
I know, that's Alpha 3. And Andrew West was about to sell me his 2470 for his Canon as well at the time. I think he was raging. I changed systems completely. I went into Wex to get this Alpha 3, and the Alpha 4 had a deal on it, and it was only like £200 more.
All right, yeah.
And I'm like,
I know, I would have did the same.
And I was like, I'm buying the Alpha 4.
Yeah.
And then she was raging, and still is. Still is. I bought the 4.
Class.
I don't regret that one bit.
Yeah.
I love it. I get the argument of, oh, it's a computer, it's Sony, it's this. No, sorry. Again, it doesn't matter what you shoot with, it's what you shoot.
Exactly.
That's important.
Because my new Nikon, which I'm filming this on, the ZF, I've just recently got. I did have two mirrorless. I had the Z7 II and I had the Z6, and I've got two D4Ss, the DSLRs. I like what the ZF's producing. Like me and Westy talk about, it's hard to switch from the two. So when I had the Z7 II, I sold it immediately because I couldn't grasp the electronic viewfinder. It was like, and I had that on as well on my D4Ss, and I kind of regret selling it. I just thought I should have stuck with it.
So I did typical me type thing. So over Christmas time, it's always quieter in gig world, and at the beginning of January, sold all my Canon stuff, traded it all in, and I bought this Sony. So I had nothing but this Sony, so I had to shoot the Sony. And then the very first time I ever used the Sony in anger was Katie Tunstall at the Barrows for Celtic Connections, and she walked out on stage, and
did she do her kick? That's what I've got.
She has, yes, I've got that photo. But she walked out on stage and she saw someone in the crowd and she had her guitar and she went, ah!
Yeah.
And I took that photo.
Loads of things like that.
And I took that photo and I thought, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite photos I've ever taken of that camera. And it's like, and it's the first one I took. And it's like, you have to just jump in and go. And that camera, I now have the full trilogy of lenses. So I've got the 14 and 24 right through 24, 70 and then the 70-200. Do I need bigger than 70-200? Not in the Barrows, no.
And I've got a fisheye there, which I'm not
a fan of fisheye. Well, I had an old Tamron fisheye or a Sanyong, whatever they're called, Sanyong. Or was that a car?
Because
so again, Rachel, she is entirely the Machiavellian dominant in this whole thing about Sony. She had the 14 and 24, and I didn't. I had the 24 through to the 200. I just did the 2.
Okay.
And it's like, that's fine. Barrows is fine. And then she's like, oh, you need this. You need this. You know, like a drug pusher. You know, you need this. You need this. You need this. And I was shooting a gig in the concert hall. I was a freelance gig in the concert hall, and I wanted the room. And I knew the 24 wasn't wide enough.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I was like, Rachel, can I borrow your 14? And I was like, I so didn't want to give it back. That was me.
The 14s are good lenses.
So even in the Barrows, I shot Don Brocco end of last year, beginning of this one. It all melds into one now. And I shot almost the entirety of it in a 14 to 24. In the atmosphere comes across. So what we're saying about shooting the house, it's fine to do a portrait shot, and you need them. Artists love them, you know. If you think about I think it's important you think who you're shooting for.
Yeah.
If you're shooting for the artist or you're shooting for PR, they want clean, usable images. You want something that says, my artist looks like a star, they look good, it's clear, the separation from the background. I could put that on a tour poster, I could put that in a magazine, I want that image.
Yeah.
If you're not shooting for that, if you're not shooting for press or you're not shooting for things, then there's the creative element, and there's some brilliant creatives out there that do sorts of amazing things with film and grain and stuff. I'm not that person. I don't have that ability. Not like these guys. But you want the atmosphere, you want the room, you want people enjoying themselves and losing it. You want interactions from the crowd, and like an artist leaning forward and putting their hand out as someone's coming over the barrier of the crowd surf, and they're like that. 14 and 24, just get the room in and just make people who look at it. I don't want, and this is a newer thing for me, I don't want photos to be this is what it looked like. What I'm hoping for, and I'm not there yet, I'm learning every day, is this is what it felt like. This is what the gig felt like. I did years of being in the crowd with a little camera going, that's what it looked like. It looked like that. But emotionally, I want to feel something, and the 14 and 24 does that.
I mean, that goes into another question that I've got. If you'd had to shoot a full gig, which you do quite a lot, with one lens, what would it be?
Okay, so it depends on the brief. My head says 24-70 because it's so it's a workhorse. It is the lens. If I could only take one lens, 24-70, because you can do everything. In the pit, you can do close-up portrait. You can get wide enough. You can stand back in a crowd, and it's so universal, and it works on so many different things. Depends on the room as well, I guess, but so many different opportunities you can get with that. So it would be the 24-70. It would always be, because that's I am a professional and I need to deliver a result. That's the lens. When I had my Canon, I had a 35mm and a 50, and I had a 70-200. And there's huge gaps in visibility, like range. And when I first got my 24-70, I would take all my photos, and of course you're changing and you're taking all the photos, and I'd put it into Lightroom, and Lightroom would go 49mm, 50mm, 51 when I'm looking at the metadata. And I was like, so I was naturally going back to 50 because it was my comfort zone. So even though I didn't know I was doing it, subconsciously I was taking, and it took a very long time to take those other focal lengths and learn it. But now that I've got it, I love it. And a 14 and 24 is a big risk to only shoot in that. And I think a 70-200 is the same. Because you're too close, or you have to not be in the pit. So I would say 24-70. So do I need more lens? So I only shoot Sigma lenses. I had a Canon lens, and then I bought Sigma lenses, and that was a cost thing to begin with. But then also I really read into it, and I don't know how true the rumours are, but apparently Sigma make lenses for Sony. To answer your question briefly, I shoot Sony Alpha with Sigma glass.
Okay. We've got the glass, got the gear, etc., and we all bang on about the stage. And it's unfair to pick on the lighting guys or the setup, because that's their show. So we have to adapt to that show. So the lights are up, and they're just there, and you're in the pit. What is it you're looking for? Is there anything in your head that you're looking for, or is it just a
Today's different to how I used to be. And I love taking photographs, and there's stages of being a photographer, and I am not there yet, and I'm still learning, and anyone who says they've completed it is wrong. Anyone says that, you're learning every day. I used to be looking for a clear, perfect shot of that's artist on stage. And I used to get so, like everyone used to get so annoyed about, oh, the lighting's crap, or there's lots of smoke, or why is it all red light? Because red light flattens, and
you have to work around it.
And it's like, well, it took me a while. It took me a while to get there, and I think you're right? But that's a journey that everyone has to go through themselves, and I've gone through it. the lighting's not for me, it's for
Yeah.
the crowd and for the show, and this is the performance. And that whole, I said earlier on about what it looks like versus what it feels like, I wasn't even trying to shoot what it looked like, because I was colour correcting, or I was dehazing, or I was doing things in post-production in Lightroom. I never use Photoshop at all. I just always use Lightroom to keep it as...
Okay. We're going to workflow and editing.
I will do, but Lightroom to me is a digital darkroom. That's the whole point of it. So it's minimal touch, you know. But what am I looking for? I'm now looking for connection or a moment with the artist in the room. And that usually involves the crowd.
Because that falls on to the next question. Are you shooting instinctively or deliberately now? I mean, what I'm thinking about...
Instinctively.
Well, that's, I'm a bit like that.
I'm now shooting instinctively. And I may be coming to a question that you're going to ask later, but it's been commented on by others of me that I'm sharing the pit with, or people that I know who are in the crowd who see me in the pit. I am so relaxed in the pit now.
Yeah.
Whereas I used to, especially when I was shooting the Canon, because the back screen was crap. You couldn't hold it. You know, you couldn't like chimp or any kind of like Mr. Tickle Arms right up like this. You know, couldn't do that. I had to look. I was looking through the viewfinder, so everything was shot at my height.
Okay.
Right. You know, and that was it. So you're constantly, so you're not looking at what's going on.
Okay.
You're going, you know, spray and pray or whatever you want to do in that point. But now, by moving on to mirrorless, and I do still use viewfinder a hell of a lot and try not to get my arms in the way of other photographers and other shots, because it's a pain in the ass, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I do use the screen a lot more.
Okay.
But the advantage of using the screen isn't about, it's modern touch focus, because I don't. I back button focus. I always back button focus. By not having the camera here, you're instinctively seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
And that took a change of technology.
I shoot with two eyes open.
Aye, so do I. I sometimes forget what eye I actually look through the lens with. I quite often will do that.
Yeah.
But you get, so now what's happening is instinctively I'm doing more watching the gig and people than I am through the lens going, that's a great shot, that's framed perfectly. It's more why is he going over there? Oh wait, hang on, that bassist is suddenly about to jump up on that and put, I'm going for that. And so you instinctively know to follow rather than, I never go with a crit sheet. I never go with, I need a photograph of the drummer, the bassist, the singer. I need a photograph of, I need two wides and one up close portrait. I never go with that, because I know that. Yeah, because and you'll do that you should be able to do that naturally without thinking about it.
You've answered the last question there, because I was going to ask you, how do you decide what not to shoot? But if you're not going in there deciding what I'm going to shoot, you haven't got anything to say, no, I'm not going to shoot that.
Yeah, I mean, I shoot less frames now than I used to.
Okay.
And I mean in the hundreds. I shoot less, so part of that's confidence and experience, well, and confidence, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I had older equipment or less confidence in myself, there was a spray and pray type mentality of, if I shoot enough, I'll get lucky.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. That's how I learned. The trick though is not going, that was lucky. The trick is then looking at the metadata of the one that was lucky and going, what did I do there?
Yeah.
That was ISO 1250, that was f3.2 or 3.5. I try not to shoot 2.8 anymore. I used to, because I had to shoot 2.8 because of the sensor.
F4, every shot's my F4.
I sit around 3.5.
Right, okay.
To be honest, 3.2 sometimes. And I've got a default setup that I walk into every gig set up with and then go, no, that's not working. I should change the default.
Yeah.
But that now allows me to, by learning and taking the time to learn is, you need to experience and exposure in the pit.
Yeah.
You absolutely do. But actually look at your photos and work out what ones you like and what your camera settings were. And every gig is different and every lighting show's different. But if you know that it's an exposure triangle, and you know that
Yeah.
if I up this, I have to down that, or I have to move this. Once you've, I am instinctively shooting, and I shoot considerably less.
Yeah.
However, in your question, is there something I'm not going to shoot? No.
Well, I'm like that as well.
Nah, I think, as long as I'm allowed to, as long as I've got access and permissions.
It's when we get back, and I'm going into this new chapter. I'm calling it workflow and editing. It's basically when you get back into home and you're wanting to edit the pictures, and you go, "Wow, I'm glad I took that picture," or you find something that,
It's the second one for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go, I took that on a whim, and that's my favourite photo.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. So that's the craft, but let's go into my new section, and you're the first person to have this new section. Okay, so
I feel honoured.
I've called this workflow and editing.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so the first question, and then you will probably find that you answer these questions anyway, so I'll probably skip over them.
No, go for it.
So what does your workflow look like after you shoot?
So some of it has not changed in 10 years, and some of it is always evolving. I think if you have this is my process, and you can't evolve or better and change it, that's silly. I use Lightroom Classic.
Okay.
A lot of people use Lightroom, the more modern versions. I don't know what they call it, the web version or whatever.
Aye.
And I use Classic. And the reason I use Classic was at the time that was the only one that was there. And I moved over to the newer version, and half the functions that I use, like calibration, the calibration tab's not there. But more importantly, it required me offloading my RAWs onto Adobe Cloud, and then Adobe Cloud was expensive for storage, and even though I've got a terabyte of storage, that's not enough when I've got 20 terabytes on a drive. So I'm a Classic user. I use the other version a lot, and that we'll come up with where I use that. But the first thing I do is I copy from the SD card onto my local machine.
Yep.
All the RAWs, everything. So everything's staying on the card, and the Sony has dual slots, so I actually shoot 2 cards, and it's copying to both. So if one of the cards fails, I've still got it.
Right.
The only time I don't do that is if I'm at, let's say I'm at a festival, and I'm shooting all day. I can sometimes, I've got multiple cards, and I will choose to just run on to the next card. It's a decision. But if it's a big ticket thing, if it's really important, the majority of the time, when I'm in the bars and stuff, I'm always going to shoot copy onto 2 cards.
Yeah.
So I've got redundancy already. So I've got a backup, and then I've got the card that I take out and I put in the machine, and I copy them to the local machine.
Okay.
So now I've got 3 copies of the photos.
Right. Yeah.
And the first thing I do is I do a very fast cull, and it's simply full screen through everything from the very first photo I took to the very last photo I took, and it's auto advance, and it is under 5 minutes.
Wow.
And it is press X to reject. Forget about whether it's a good photo. I'm not caring if it's a good photo, but if it's a crap photo, they've got their eyes closed, there's a mic in front of the thing, it's out of focus, it's wrongly exposed in a way that could never be recovered or anything.
Yeah.
X, 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 X. And it auto advances, so it's like reject or next, reject or next. I'm not rating them at all.
Okay, yeah, because I colour code mine, but
So I do
better
that.
system.
I do that first, and then I immediately delete them. Gone. Now obviously they're still on these other cards, but I'm never going to go back to them.
right.
So delete them. So now that, let's say for a headline, I've maybe got 600 in photos. That's now down at, it used to half. I may be getting better, I'm not sure, but it now goes to like maybe 500. You know, it's only a small amount.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back through, and this time I'll give it a 1.
Right.
If that's a photo that I think I might want to edit or use, I give it a 1, and then I go next. I already know they're all good photos, and by good I mean they're not blurred, they're properly exposed, etc. All I'm saying is I might want to come back to this photo.
Yeah.
So I go through all the remainder of that, and then I use the filter and say only show me the ones, and I go back through it again, and I score them. Is this one better than that one? And you can use L on Classic, which gives you do a sort of compare. You can select like 3 or 4 photos. Let's say you've got a moment that you've had a burst. You can shoot. You can press L and it'll show you all 5 of them.
All right. Yeah.
And then you can go, I prefer that one to that one. So I'll give that one a 2 and I'll give that one a 2 and I'll do that, and then I filter again and say only show me the 2s.
Right, yeah.
So by this point I'm down to like 100 photos roughly, and then I'll go through it again. So this time you're really getting to know your photos instead of, and I'll tell you what I used to do in a minute, but I now know my photos, and I'll go through and I'll rate the ones that I'm going to spend time color correcting, straightening, recropping, because I try to do minimal edit in that way, or I'm going to do masking or something. I'll rate them a 3, and I only ever edit the 3s.
Right.
And that's it. And that will take me down to about 20 images.
Wow.
Now everything's still there. They're just starred and gotten. So that's the process. Whereas what I used to do is I used to go, I like that one, and then I'll spend time editing that one, and then I'll go to the next photo and go, oh, that one's better.
Yeah.
I should have edited that one.
I tend to do that quite a lot as well.
So now I have this real regimen of, no, I'm going to rate immediately, and I'm only going to edit the 3s, and then they become my set.
Right.
And then what happens is I export them. So I run the social media account for the bars and do, alongside Alec Downey, but I post all the photos. So I will then export for grid or story, and I will post photos. I'll export those ones, like let's say I'm going to do 3 or 4. So of the 20 that are 3 stars, I'll pick the ones I want to tell a story. I try to do a sort of story of the night. Yeah. And then everything gets moved off of my drive onto the server. And once it's moved from there onto the server has backup on, it's got RAID configuration, and it's doing duplicates itself as a server. So if one drive fails, I don't lose anything. At that point, and only at that point, do I format the SD cards. Right. And that's me. Ready for the next one. So what I tend to do is the 3 stars I kind of move, so under my folder, let's say I'm shooting, I don't know, wet leg, whoever it is, right? Yeah. I've got wet leg and the date, and then I've got outtakes, which is everything, which is starred, and so it's all the deleted ones they're gone. Yeah. I've got everything in outtakes, and anything that's rated as a 2 or 3, I move into another folder. This is only for me tidying up when I put it into my server. It's not part of my workflow process, but just then doing the filing of it. They go into candidates, and then the ones that I edited go into the top folder of wet leg. So that is my gallery. Right. So if I click in wet leg, I just get these 20 pictures. Right. That's my gallery. Then I've got candidates, which are ones that I could have edited, or 2, or maybe picked one over it. Then I've got outtakes. And I keep all my raws, because there are times, there's things I've done. I did an exhibition in Dundee last year, and I went back and I just re-looked at gigs, because you're learning all the time. Your editing's learning, your eyes changing. I find that I'm editing differently. We talk about your style, the way you edit. Yeah, I mean, well, that whole conversation about I've moved on from being, oh my God, yes, I'm so lucky I managed to get that perfect portrait shot, to what did it feel like? That same image was probably cropped, and if I take it out, I've got a totally different atmosphere and feeling. So by keeping the raw, I can revisit that image and go, actually, that works best for me now. If I know this from a copyright perspective, if I stand and I set my camera up and there's all the settings, that's 1/320, and it's this, that, and the next thing, and I hand it to you and you take a picture, that's your picture. Yeah. Copyright is yours. Yeah. My camera, my settings, doesn't matter, because you took it. Yeah. And that can't change unless you write contracts and say, I'm giving the copyright, and you should never give away the copyright of your images. Never. You then take your creative, so that's the raw file, then you've got your creative intent on that photo, and you make an image from it. However you choose to do that, you will make an image. I'm not talking about AI creative, I'm talking about you color casting it, or doing this, that, and the next thing, color grading it. That's also yours. It's your work. That's your work. Got an artist. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit like I've sold images to well-known top artists, and I've gave them what's a model release type thing. I've gave them a 5-year license. So at the end of that 5 years, the usage of that image comes back to me. So within that 5 years, he or she has got total rights to use it for whatever purpose that I've detailed in that license. Yeah.
but after that 5 years they cannot use it again. But I still retain the copyright right through the 5 years.
And that's absolutely how it should be. I mean, even if it's a sheet of paper, you need a contract even before you go and take photos, especially if you're being freelance and you're being commissioned to do something. And it's not just to protect you. It's not oh, these are my photos and you can't use them. It's not that. And it's like, we could get into a conversation about should we put watermarks and pictures and stuff, and I don't agree with that at all. I don't think you should. And I think it's your image anyway, and people copy stuff if they're gonna copy it. You can't really stop them. But if it's commercial, if people are making money on it, then that becomes usage licensing, and you should be paid for you should be paid the correct amount of money for the specific usage.
Yeah.
You know, if they want photos for a website, that's one thing. If they want an album cover, that's a very different thing. But it might be the same image.
Yeah.
How it's being used is what's being licensed and what's
They put it
important.
on like our photo passes as well. They're on some pictures are on photo passes.
Yeah.
VIP, AAA passes and stuff like that. So that's the workflow and editing. It's a very short section that I've put in there. It kind of moulds in with the craft. So we'll talk about pressure. That's the new one. Pressure's a lovely little topic. I've got 4 or 5 questions in that.
I've suddenly got the song from Encanto that my daughter loves in my head now. But anyway,
I need to take a listen to that one. That's brilliant. So, what's your do you have a mindset when you know you've only got 3 songs to shoot, or is it different when you know you've got a full show to shoot? Is there a difference there?
So, as house at the Barras, it's still press rules. It's still first tee.
Yeah.
But, however, security in the venue quite often talk to either the TM or the rep for the promoter and say, it's house photography, what are we allowed, what can you do? And more, I'm being very lucky to be granted front of house after the first tee. Does my mind change? No, I don't feel like the pressure's off in any way, because the front of house photos for me, I tend not to stick my 70-200 on and just zoom in on the singer anyway. I tend to be shooting the room and people with cameras up and try and take some kind of interesting take on it all, you know. If I'm only shooting first tee, sometimes I think, oh, good.
Yeah,
not because I can go home, because I tend to stay and watch anyway, because I just love live gigs. But just because then I know I'm working for this and I have to deliver in that 15 minutes, let's say 5 minutes a song, 15 minutes, and I need to shoot it. Whereas if you've got front of house, you shoot that anyway just the same way I do. I shoot that just the same, and then you go, oh, I can go take more photos, I'll play about, and you kind of, it's not mucking about, because that's when you're getting an opportunity to learn and try something new and thing. So is it different? No. Do I take considerably more photos if I'm allowed to shoot all night? No. But some of my favourite shots are taken after those first 3.
Yeah.
And I think that's because the pressure's come off, or you know you've already got what you need to get in the bag or on the card.
Because I find that there was a couple of artists who are really, really, especially we showed you the one with Griff, and we chatted about that off camera. And I think that's when I found it. We were as a house photographer as well, but all the photographers that night were allowed to shoot the full show.
Yes. So there's a photograph that, when we talk about our 5, there's a photograph that's got a story behind it that comes back to that. We'll look back to that. I won't tell the story now. Pressure. So the question, so you asked it specifically about front of house versus first tee.
Yeah.
I used to, and I've already said something along this line, but I used to very much be like, must shoot, tick, 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 you know. I actually find a sense of calm now, and it's a more recent thing. And it's comfort because I'm in that pit a lot.
Yeah.
And I know the room and I know security, and we wind each other up and have a laugh.
It's good that, isn't it?
Because I mean, Dale Robertson is Dean Robertson in the pit. He's like, he's like, oh, that's 3, get out. And I was like, that's only 2, you can't count. And he's like, oh, right. And then, you know, sometimes...
You're dyslexic.
I'm
dyslexic, so
it's just so funny, though. It's just that, like, a bit of wind-up, or you'll try and take photos.
I like the banter.
I take photographs of security, and, you know, they're picking their nose and stuff, and I was like, oh, look at this, and stuff. And it's just... I I know we use the word home in our house, but I feel at home.
Yeah.
And I find a sense of calm. I actually find things slow down in my head. And there's so many photographers, and I kind of can really see the benefit of it if I'm shooting like in the hydro or I'm shooting a festival. You get two bodies, and you've got a 24-17 or 70 to 200 or a whatever. And I can see real benefit, and I know that then you're not missing a shot, so to speak.
Because that's the very last question for me.
Oh, so there you go. So I have one body. I will probably move to two, but I'll tell you what's putting me off moving to two, and it's not the cost. On the Barrowland stage, you'll get the speaker stacks, and just before you walk off, there's always a gap. And I put all my lenses in a row on the stage in this gap, and it's completely out of the way. I mean, it's not. It might as well be off stage, you know. But it's completely out of the way. Past the guitar, the rack and everything, there's a wee bit. And I put all my lenses there, and I'll shoot, and I'll think, right, I'm going to change my lens, and I'll walk away, and see that 30 seconds. Okay, this is a different lens. I now know what I'm going to go and do. Instead of, I could shoot that. Oh, I could shoot that. I could, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd get more photos. Would I miss something? Yes.
Possibly, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I would miss something.
Because that was the last. Have you ever? Sorry, I'm looking at it. Have you ever missed the shot?
Yeah, of course.
I think we all have.
Of course.
Because it's like you're having that option. I have two bodies. Now I get three. But I used to just shoot with one, and I've got this.
Thing you can swap
put all my lenses in, and it's swapping. You're twisting around, and you're trying to fiddle around, and you're looking up at it, and you're going, oh, I've just did something jumping.
Which is what's nice about walking away, because when you're walking away, they're behind you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if I was hired by a band to cover a show, I would absolutely have two bodies. Right, but because I'm in the pit and I'm thinking, I like that moment of, okay, I've been watching what's going on, I'm going to move to a 14 to 24, or I'm going to go and actually the lighting's the same and the band aren't really moving around, or the artist's not moving around that much, everything's all kind of similar, so I'm going to move to a 70 to 200 and do portraits.
Yeah.
And making a decision, I'll walk away and do it. So in that moment, of course you could miss something, but do you miss lots? No. And I like that, and it calms me down, and I feel, I don't mean it's zen, I don't mean some hippies that are all my breathing. I'd never get stressed in the pit.
No, I don't think I have.
There's no point.
I think when I first started I probably did.
Oh,
I think I put it on myself, and I'm not saying I need to get that shot, but we talked about it earlier, about the gear, the editing style and confidence. And I think as I grow as a creative person.
So I'm relaxed in the room, obviously. Because I'm in the room and I know everyone and everyone knows me, and security is like, you're not like a tog that's running around and think people are going, who's he, what's he doing? They'll go, that's Gareth. Whether I'm allowed to be doing it or not, they'll know who I am. You know? I got rugby tackled out of the pit in JJ72 because I had no idea what I was doing.
That story's brilliant.
Right? So we've all been there, right? And so I have a responsibility to represent a venue. And I want to make sure that everyone that comes into that pit is treated the same way. I don't care if you're a 16-year-old who's just gone to college and you're doing and your first time 100%. There, or you're a 60-year-old man, because it tends to be, who is doing it for press and they're working for Getty or whoever it is they're working for, and they've done millions. Because to me, you're both the same. You've got the same pass with the same opportunity. Just different experience. And if that experience is negative for that other person, they will never do it. And that's not fair or right. And I feel as I've got responsibility for a safe pit and stuff, and that's representing the venue. But even if I wasn't, I'd be the same. I'd still go and talk to people. I love to get to know people, and I ploughed my own furrow and ended up doing the role that I'm doing in the Barrowland. Not through industry and knowing all the other photographers, not because I'm an antisocial git. It just is the way it is, and I'm getting to know everyone now, and I want to know everyone, and not have ego or not have gatekeeping is the worst thing you can possibly 100%. Do, because some of the upcoming photographers are absolutely brilliant, and
absolutely.
But I also see,
I'll reach out to a lot of them soon.
I also see a lot of it amongst themselves, that sort of argumentative, competitive, how did you get that, what about this and stuff. It's like, no, because your photos are different for their photos, and
We're all different, and
I was inherently shy as a child.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Everyone says they don't believe it when they meet me, right? But I was, and I ended up going to university to do a marketing degree.
Wow.
Which made me stand up and present to my peers every week for 4 years.
Yeah.
And that was hell, but amazing because it changed me. Right, but sometimes as marketing, you come across salesy, or you become across arrogant or ego or whatever. And you can't change what people think of you, and people will think what they want of you if it suits their narrative.
Yeah.
But I know, and the people who know me, that I love to support, and I'm open, and I want to drive and help and push, and therefore I make a point of going and talking to everybody in the pit if they want to talk to me.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm like.
If someone doesn't want to, or whatever, I'll always say I'm Gareth, like I'm house photographer.
Yeah.
And I always just tend to say, any problems with anyone else or yourself, speak to security or me, we'll fix it. It's more accessible now. Cameras are, I mean, they're expensive, but they're cheaper than they were. And moving out of film, and there's a lot of photographers that only shoot film. There's one guy in particular that only shoots film. He's brilliant photos. They're very different to like what I'm doing from a house point of view.
The pressure of getting the shot, missing the shot, feel more relaxed. But have you ever been in a chaotic pit?
Oh God, yeah.
And how would you deal with that normally? How would you?
I walk away. I've discovered. And it's not through surrender or through frustration or annoyance. One that comes to mind, Franz Ferdinand in the Barrows.
Oh yeah.
There was 17 of us in the pit.
Right, okay.
The Barrows pit's big, but 17 people, it's a lot of people. And it was mental. And there are some photographers, and you were talking about sports photography, I don't know what their names are, I'm not going to name and shame because I don't know them. But there are some photographers that I know shoot football, and my knowledge, I don't shoot football, but my understanding of it is you find your spot, you stand, you've got your zoom lens, and that's your spot, and you're shooting down the pitch, and that's what you're doing. And when that transpires into pit photography, they find the spot right at the front, and they stand and
stay there,
and
we've touched on that in other interviews.
and you can't stay there, you need to move. And I will quite often, because I'm not confrontational in that way. I have opinion, but I'm not confrontational. I'll say to security, you're going to get them to move. Like, just everyone should move. Everyone should just keep moving, give everyone a chance. But when there's 17 of you, it's almost impossible to keep moving because you're not rotating round and stuff. So that's the thing. So I would sometimes watch 14 people in a big hustle going like that and following a singer, and at which point I go that way. So interestingly, we talk about editorial and creative photography. We talk about this is what it looked like, this is what it felt like, this is what happened. When you're doing that, what's the purpose of that photo? Is that photo reportage? Is it documentary? So from a house photographer point of view, it's documenting what happened. 14 photographers went that way, and you're not slagging them off. You're just saying, I took the photo of look at the chaos of the pit. Or if you're shooting a metal band like Bleed From Within, or any of the big bands come in, and you've got a row of yellow jerseys and security who are up, climbing, grabbing, over 1,000 people come over the pit.
Oh yeah, I did that with Prodigy. Yeah,
and you're like, so that's happening, and then you're in the middle of it, and of course, so then that's why you shoot with both eyes open, because you're watching for things. And then I've got photographs. One of my friends, Louise, she went to a gig at the end of last year, and it was Don Broco, but she went to a gig, and she never crowd surfed at the Barrows, and never had wanted to crowd surf, and she'd lost a friend, and it was an important gig to her and stuff. And I took her up to Dean and security at the beginning and said, this woman wants to crowd surf, and they're like, well, you're going to crowd surf, and we're going to look after you and look out for me when you go up, look out for me, and all the rest of it. So she was a bit nervous and all the rest of it. And then she and I went up to her in the crowd, and I said, and if you shoot in the first 2 songs, I'll get a photo. Right, so she did. She'd on these black and white check trainers, and I saw the trainers go up in the crowd, and I was like, here she comes. So I got this beautiful photo of her. Is it technically the best photo? No. But is it emotionally the greatest photo? It's like, yes. I've got this photograph of her on top of the crowd and she's laughing and stuff, and I got it printed and I took it to her and gave her it as a gift, sort of thing. And that's the beauty of it. And you're watching out for stuff going round and people, and the pits are chaotic. But what was funny, when the point of the story is when Louise landed, now security then say they hustle you out. Because security knew who she was, they just left her in the pit, and she just turned around to me and just ran up going, so I love the chaos of the pit, but I still find it calming. Because you're just, you know what you're doing. And I always wear in-ears.
Protect your ears.
The tinnitus is
mine
unbound.
is bad.
I always wear ears, so you have a little bit of you feel enclosed and stuff. But what's interesting for me with that then is I find there are times where I don't know what songs have been played.
You're in the zone. Pairs and a few other people that I've spoken to say that.
Is that 3? Oh, right, okay. And they never played, if it's a band I know, they never played such and such. They come on with it. Did they? You know. That's it. So I know people. I was talking to women last night. Actually, went for a drink with a couple of people I know. After I'm shooting last night at the bars, went for a drink after, and she's sort of getting into it and is interested. And she said, "But I'm a really big music fan, and I'm worried if I do this, I'm not going to enjoy the gig, because I'm doing the photos and I want to do both." You know, it's like, you can do both, but be aware that it's not you're working and you have to focus, it's you do focus and you do miss. You're
just getting lost in it, mate.
But then also, and as a band that we're going to talk about later on, I was shooting The Almighty in the Barrowland, and I grew up listening to The Almighty in my teenage years. I was a massive Almighty fan. And I got slagged off by security in the first day because I sung every single word.
I did that.
I'm in the pit and the mouth's going.
I did that. I've done it a couple of times with some bands. I'll not mention them, but But let's go into the next section, which is all about your 5 images. And I've called this now. I've changed this. Called, and we mentioned it, the stories behind the frames. So we'll go with the stories behind the frames, which was it used to be called the definitive 5, but I have got you asked to choose 5 images. And we've got the career maker, the impossible shot, the emotional connection, the technical triumph, the one that tells a story, the wisdom is the things that I sent you to think about these images, and we're going to break it down to that. So,
if you prompt me, I will answer.
Okay, so the career maker, and obviously your first shot.
My first shot. So this is the career maker.
Career maker.
By career, I didn't get a job out of it. I discovered that I loved photography from it. And this is Janine from co-winning band Vukovic.
All right, yeah, I know Vukovic. My friend Lad Irvin used to play the drums for them. So Underdog Theory. It's up there.
So I know.
You see Colin up there.
Colin, yeah. So this is at that point when he was still in the band with them, when it was their 4-piece. I keep saying podcast. My blog, Music Scramble, I'd wanted to start doing photos.
Right.
So even though I'd been in the pit, with the GJ72 thing, this is my first ever photo pass.
Right.
And this is, I got in touch with the band and we did an interview with them for the blog, and I was like, can I get a photo pass? And they were like, Hamish and Janine were like, yes, absolutely, there's a photo pass. Yeah. I had no idea what I was doing.
She's moved on so much.
Yes, oh my goodness, yeah, they all have and stuff. But, so for me, this was taken in JPEG. I didn't know you could do RAW. I don't even know if the camera I was using, I think it was the Panasonic Lumix. It's a JPEG photo, and a lot of them from that night are unusable. But I was saying earlier about you look at the metadata and you work out why, and I was struggling because the stage lighting was in Oranmore, it's downstairs in Oranmore.
It's quite dark, isn't it?
There's no lights. There's no light.
No in the pit.
Right, but Janine, being Janine, decided that she wanted to be in the crowd for a song.
Right, okay.
So this photo, she's in the crowd. So I leaned against the stage because then the lighting It was the only moment really where the lighting wasn't just a blue or a
Okay.
red wash, and I got this photo.
Right, okay.
And it's a career maker for me. Is it the best photo? No. It's a career maker for me because I looked at it and I went, I want to do this. This is the one, and my first ever photo pass. I want to go and I want to get more photo passes and I want to learn. And I shot, and I actually have, we were talking about servers and outtakes and stuff. I've actually got a second hard drive of all the photos I took from 2014
Right, okay.
through to 2022. Like through lockdown really, because I picked it up again.
Yeah.
I actually after lockdown didn't pick it up again to camera up until the middle of 22. And they are archived off. I call it the vault on my server, and I don't look at them. And I should go back and actually find, that's maybe a project for something to do in a dry month, is go and build a vault and look. I mean, some of the camera settings. I mean, this is like 1/125.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a JPEG, and it's if it's not, it's 1/200 because I had no idea what I was doing.
Right. Well, it looks, when I opened it up and I printed it out, it's just absolutely beautiful, and it printed it well, and it's a lovely, nice depth of field in it as well.
Well,
And for
that's it,
somebody-
because you can see she's in the crowd, and the crowd have opened up.
Aye.
And she's not looking at me. There is a series of them. There's one where she's like that, and she's pointing with the microphone and stuff.
Right, okay.
But I like, so this is the emotion sort of side of it. I like the fact that she's actually looking at the band.
Yeah. That's yeah, it's good.
You know, so
Yeah.
that I picked that because this is the first one that I really thought I went first pass, first thing. And ironically and beautifully, I had never shot Vukovi since.
Well, I've never photographed them. I've had people cover them for my magazine.
I'd never shot them since, and then they played SWG3 last year.
Right.
And Hamish and I have become friendly. We talk semi-regularly.
Right, okay.
And I messaged them and I said it's 10 years.
Yeah.
And you gave me, I'm now doing this because of you guys, because you gave me a pass, and
That's how it opens.
and I was like, is there any way I can get a pass and shoot your Switch gig? And they were like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did. I finally got to shoot them again last year. But incredible band,
Yeah,
underrated.
she's more confident than she's ever been.
Oh my goodness,
she's really good.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, a lot of people don't recognise her.
No, she doesn't look. She looks totally different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, fabulous. Love that one. So we'll go to the next one. Your second image, and we went through the definitive 5, the impossible shot.
The impossible shot.
Yeah,
I'm not going to show this photo immediately as I start
Okay.
talking.
that's fine.
Um,
So I'll hold off putting that on screen then.
yeah. Megan Maroney, American country artist.
Yep.
She played Barrowland, and I really like country music. I've shot with Scotty McCreery and Lola Kirk and a couple of others. Megan Maroney, incredible female country artist. She's playing the Academy soon. You might see her.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I need to look out for that one.
I got there and it was no pit. So the first 3 songs, it's front of house only.
Right.
No pit, you're not allowed in the pit. And we were talking earlier on about shooting females and being courteous and all the rest of it. She's got a lovely little sparkly dress on, really short dress, and whether it was that, and she didn't want people in the pit underneath her with a short skirt on, or
Can
whether it was a distraction thing or a confidence thing, I know not. It matters not as to why we weren't allowed in the pit. So everyone was all standing at the back, but I was speaking to, just in passing, the general manager of the Barrowland, and I was like, you know it's no pit tonight? And he was like, what? I was like, oh, we're not allowed in the pit, we've got to shoot at the back. And he went, if you're not allowed to shoot in the pit, how do you fancy shooting above the pit? And I knew, and from doing the tours, I knew exactly what was going through his head, and he had a little twinkle. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So we got Jim Stinson, who's the Spark in the Barrowland, and he escorted me, and we climbed into the, so the Barrowland roof is that shape.
Right, okay.
With the stars and everything, and all the rigging goes up through. But the Barrowland's a flat building, flat roof building. I've actually been on the roof, taking photos off the roof, looking down on the street.
Yeah.
So you go up that way, and there's a crawl space.
Okay.
The attic, right? There's a crawl space that you can get into, and there's a famous story about a Daily Record press photographer hiding in there for Beastie Boys who were no press in 1987, taking shots from the back out through one of the vents. You see them in the crowd. In the crowd, look up. Those big rectangles that open up.
Right.
But they were closed. Right, so I was like, right, okay, hang on. Okay. So this is the photo.
Okay.
And it's it's an air vent. Above the stage.
Oh, and I can see, it's the distant Westies, and you've got me started again. I'm going a bit lines, and oh man,
right.
This is an editing gem for me.
This is the air vent, but what I love, so it's an impossible shot because we weren't allowed in the pit, and I'm not in the pit, but I very quickly realised that everyone's going to have the same photo standing at the back, long distance, and I've got some of them, and they're fine. They're technically correct, you know. But this photo, the front row of the crowd, the performer, on the bottom of our mic stand, Megan Maroney, and then you might not be able to see this here, but the set list in the original is so crisp you can read it. Right, you can read the set list, and you can actually read it here as well. But so that was the impossible shot because we weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and it started a bit of a laugh, and I knew a lot of other people were chatting and stuff, and they were like, sorry, you were where? And I was like, I was up there. Like, how'd you get up there? It's like, you don't. You know? And I came out, and I was like, I really should have had a COVID face mask, you know, because you came out and I was like white from dust and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, you know, you tend to wear black when you're in the pit and stuff, and I was just like, oh God. But so
that's. I was just briefly doing a bit lines, and I can see a V. It's almost like a beam of torch, you know, the torch light shining on that specific moment or the crowd.
Yep.
Because if you go further towards your left, you can see more of the pit there, but it's just a V. So there's the V angle.
So there's the
just
pit,
the shapes,
and it's an air vent, and it's an air vent, and it's a tiny air vent. The air vent is sort of that size.
Right. Okay.
You know, and all the light rigs go up through various different holes, and it's essentially one of them. Yeah. And I'm just like, right, okay, and I've got, and you angle it, and then and then you're like focal point, depth of field, okay, and so. That could be anybody because you can't see her face technically, but it's Megan Maroney, and we know it's Megan Maroney, and you can see the set list and
it's something different.
The adoration of the crowd and everything else. So that was my perfect shot. Yeah. Or, sorry, impossible shot.
It's impossible shot. Well, it is impossible because not everybody's could have got that shot.
Yes, and that's the advantage of being house as well.
Yeah.
And having and knowing and having the relationship and saying, I can't shoot this, and sometimes you go, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, you've been a house photographer. Barrowlands is slightly different from the house photographers that we are at the academies because there's so many of us, and we don't get the same kind of access. But I'm sure if we did speak to the right people, they would be more than happy to help us out.
Well, I think it comes down to what you're doing. So the Barrowland intentionally doesn't cover every gig.
Yeah,
we don't have a bank of photographers and they are about building an archive of photos and building an archive of experiences, and that's what's absolutely informed the way I now shoot. So we wanted to just try it. Let's see what happens.
And that's one you could put up in their gallery of a moment that we talked about earlier, about having your images in a certain place in the venue, because it shows you the architecture and it shows you that vent and somebody performing, and just looking at the crowd in their faces. And
I mean the bottom corner, so she had a here you can see a staircase at the back of the stage. She performed on this riser and then came down the stairs and walked to the front, and it's like, well, I'm glad you've come off of here because I can now get you in the photo. You know?
Well, there you go. But
the other thing about the attic is there's just signs everywhere, and it was pitch black. because obviously there's a gig going on. You don't want to be flashing torches and stuff light coming out of the thing. But there's like, do not stand here. There's holes and stuff in the roof, and you would just go. I'd have been on the stage.
Can you imagine of crying out?
Have you pair of legs?
You just a pair of legs, or you just go like coming down like Spider-Man, like, in the background, going landing on the stage and go, and then take the shot. That would
have been the end of my short-lived photography, I think.
That's absolutely brilliant. So going to your third one, it's called the emotional connection that you had.
Yes.
It's a photo of an artist or a moment that deeply moved you. So
this photo.
Okay.
This is Ricky Warwick, Irish lead singer from Straven, moved to Straven when he was a teenager, of Glasgow rock band The Almighty.
Right.
And I love The Almighty. 16-year-old me became obsessed with them. Their first album came out in 1989, and I got into them a couple of years later, and I just loved The Almighty. And they went through a couple of line-up changes and various different things, and then they split in 1996.
Right, okay.
But The Almighty, they were the first band that I discovered when, it wasn't like a cousin or somebody that said, listen to this band, listen to that. They were my band. They were my rock band, because I had long hair. I know you can't imagine it, but I did, and I loved rock and metal and stuff, and I just obsessed with The Almighty. Not in a sort of like creepy misery sort of Kathy Bates way, but I loved The Almighty, and they split, and that's what happens. And then this is 2023, and 38 years or whatever the maths is later, they out of nowhere announced they're going to do a one-off gig with the original lineup, who hadn't played together in that time. The band had been playing as a different lineup for a bit, and then mid-90s had dropped, but the original lineup were getting back together and doing a one-off gig, and they were doing a one-off gig in the Glasgow Barrowland.
Wow, even better.
But what's important is 16-year-old me, my girlfriend at the time, still in school, my girlfriend at the time, for my 16th birthday, and I'm June, bought me tickets to see The Almighty, because I'd never seen them, and it was in the Barrowland. And it was the following month, it was like 3rd of July or something like that. And I'd never been in the bars, I'd never seen The Almighty, and at that point it was strictly an over 18 gig. And I was petrified, so nervous about getting in. And I got in. We got in, and we got to the thing, and I saw The Almighty. And they were the first band I ever saw in the Barrowland.
Wow, yeah.
Fast forward 30 years plus, and I'm standing in the pit, taking a photograph of them, the first gig. The first gig they've done. They had never performed anywhere else. This was the first night, and it was the first song, and they walked out, and they looked and sounded like The Almighty, and 16-year-old me was just bubbling. It's like, I am now the house photographer in the venue, seeing the band that I first was ever in the venue seeing, and it was overwhelming. Yeah. So it's, thank you that you think it's a belter of a photo. I have what they've started to do. So it was St Andrew's Day, and the band have started to, they've come back and they're kind of playing. I'm absolutely confident there's a new album, just the way they've been doing stuff. But they have played a trilogy of St Andrew's Day gigs in the bars. Right. So they've played 23, 24, 25. They've just announced 26. Wow. So they're going to play St Andrew's Day every year, and I've shot all of them. Oh, brilliant. And so much so, Andy McCafferty, who's the Almighty's original guitarist, his daughter plays keys for Horse. Right. And she was playing the bars, and I actually met Andy at the bar and his wife, and the thing, and they were chatting away, and we were talking about the Almighty stuff, and I ended up having a chat and building a relationship. You know what I mean? Just being working and talking to folk, and managed to get a photograph of their daughter, Kirsty, on stage of the bars. It was her first time in the bars, so I got that photo and I sent it to her mum, and all this, and it's just that's what it's about. It's about that networking side. So that's my emotional one. There's now a framed version of this in the bars,
Right.
up on the wall.
So it should be. It's brilliant, mate.
in the disabled area.
Love his face. Getting the moment.
It's so rock and roll.
It's like the shape of his guitar on his, and he's balancing it on his leg as well, just to give him that, but just so he can really rock out. It's a proper rock looking picture.
Yeah, and I like, so when we talk about composition and you talk about photography, I like the fact that it's cut off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's, I think that probably it's there in the original. But you want him to be coming out of the picture. You don't want him to, he's so big, you want him to not fit in the frame. But yeah, emotionally, I couldn't believe I was standing in the pit taking photographs of this band who hadn't existed for 30 years.
Oh, right, yeah.
In a venue that I was there.
The Technical Triumph we're on. So a shot where your gear, the Technical Triumph, a shot where your gear and skill finally click perfectly.
Finally clicked perfectly. So I'm cheating here because I've got two pictures, but they're of the same person and they're many months apart.
That's okay.
So this is the build up. This isn't the picture, but this is the build up to it.
Right. Okay.
This is Callum Beattie.
I thought it was Callum. Soon I seen the two of them, but that's Callum Beattie.
That's Callum Beattie. Right.
Yeah, because
Callum Beattie's fab. I really like Callum, and this is taken at Party of the Palace in Linlithgow, and he gets some serious air. First song, he jumps off of the drum riser to start the song, to start the gig, really. And everybody knows that he's going to do it. And it's almost become a meme. You know, everyone knows he's going to do it. And all the photographers are jostling for position because you've got to try and get the shot and all the rest of it. And I got the shot. Yeah. It's all right. It's technically fine. It's correct. It's, look at the air that he's got, and he's looking straight out over the crowd, and it's fine. It's like every other photo.
Yeah, because I got one of John McMustard jumping. It's just behind you in those pictures at back, and I don't get many jump shots, but see when you get it, it's like you feel quite proud that you've.
That was fine, and I did think, okay, so technically I got everything right. The shutter speed's correct. The thing, it's outside during the day in a festival.
That's why I like festivals, because you've got a big softbox with light.
Yeah, you do, but also everything's flat and boring. They all look the same because there's no lighting, there's no atmosphere, there's no. That's not what it felt like. That's what it looked like.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, because everything's just flat.
Aye.
A couple of months later, he plays the Barrowland.
Right. Okay.
And you know he's coming out, and you know he's going to jump, but also all the lighting's at the back.
Okay. Backlight.
So that's the shot.
Because Kim Ayres was sorry to interrupt, but Kim Ayres was talking about if you get your backlight and you can get your backlight's brilliant, and then you just work it. And that's a perfect example. So
this is in answer to the category. This is the one. That was the learning. This is the technically correct. Now, at first I was raging, because it was all backlight and smoke, and you know, because what happened was he got up on the dark and then he jumped and then the lights came on. So the lights came on as he was mid-air, and I was raging in I'm not going to get this shot, but I did.
You did.
I did, and technically, you know, and I actually really like the composition of, you can see what's going on. It's nowhere near as clean as the other one. Yeah. But this one feels something to me. Yeah. And it was so light that the Barrowland used it in a poster to advertise a guitar strap. Now they do merch. All right. And I've got it on my phone. I can show you. I can send you
something.
What
about camera straps? Sorry for interrupting.
Well, I think you can buy a guitar strap.
Let's get Barrowland guitar straps. Camera straps.
So they used it, and it was, I can't remember what the quote was. The end of it, it's got a quote and everything, but it was used, and we did it in portrait. So you know, slightly longer way, and it's for the moment, sort of thing, and so it was about advertising the fact that the guitar's strapped on and stuff, and they used it in that photograph. So that was technically I know how to do it, and I'm going to take that, but I want emotion. Yeah, and that's the emotion, because if you know Callum Beattie, you can look at that and go, that's Callum Beattie. Yeah, yeah. You know, the white socks, the white socks and trainers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've not photographed Callum yet, but it's just the way it's been working out for me. Attending things.
That'll be a conversation for you and Frank Murphy.
Yeah. Aye, definitely.
But so that's my choice for that one.
Huh? Brilliant, love it. Great one.
And why there's 2 pictures.
Right, okay. So I'll let you off for that one. You're my favourite, Gareth, so
Oh, thank you.
you're allowed.
I bet you say that to all the
I
photographers.
do, actually. I'm off camera, by the way, so I can say that. And so, let's go on to the very final one. The one that tells a story. It's an image with a wild behind-the-scenes tale, good or bad.
Wild is perhaps stretching it, but
Okay.
there's a story.
Beautiful picture.
Thank you. There's a story behind this picture.
Wonderful.
This is the artist Girl in Red.
Right.
Okay. And they were playing in the bars, obviously. That's where many of the photos are. You can see they're going through the crowd, and the crowd are all taking photos. The crowd split, and they're coming straight through the middle of this. Now, the story is pretty simple, and there's a moral to this story. They played 2 nights,
Okay.
and we always like to shoot the first night. We always like to, for social media, for things, especially if the second night's not sold out, it's good to get some photos up and go, look, this is what happened last night.
Yeah.
Come, so tickets are on the door, they're 40 quid, whatever they are, come watch gigs sort of thing, and that's the sort of social media aspect of it. So I always shoot the first night. So I'm driving up to the venue, suited, booted, cameras, all the rest of it, and I got a phone call from Tom, the general manager at the bar. He's like, Gareth, your photo pass isn't there.
Right.
I'm like, right, okay.
Pressure.
He's like, your photo pass isn't there. And I'm like, okay. He said, we've spoken to the management, and the management's in America, and no one's approving it, and they're not around because of the time difference. They're not around, they're not approving it. It's like, but come in, we're going to go and talk to the tour manager, and we'll see what we can do. And I was like, well, look, I'm 10 minutes away. I'm at Glasgow Green at this point. I'm coming anyway.
Right.
So I come, and I've got all my gear, and they were being quite strict. And I sort of said to Thomas, like, look, take my camera equipment, stick it in the office. I'm just going to go watch the gig.
Right.
The pass didn't come through. Didn't happen. That was it. In the Barrowland, if you know the Barrowland, where the sound desk is, there's a little tiny balcony with plastic seats, like school seats.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, thing. And it tends to be friends and family. It tends to be if there's ambulance needs from some people, they can't stand for very long. If there's also a disabled platform, but there's also this in the back. The reps and family of the band all sort of sit in that bit. So I didn't get a photo pass. I didn't have my camera. And I'm sitting at the back and I'm watching the gig. And she was great. Loved it. Great. Very last song, this happens. Jumps over the crowd, jumps over the bar and goes through the crowd.
Right.
And I'm like, and I'm sitting off to the side. And I'm sitting offside, I'm thinking, God, that would have been an amazing photo. But we were talking about front of house versus first 3 pit, and sometimes you get a moment. So I go back, the gig was finished, end of gig. I didn't take any pictures. And I went down the stairs and I said to Tom, thanks for my camera and all the rest of it, keeping it safe. And he went, I've got it sorted, we've got a pass for tomorrow night. And I'm like, yes. Not for the pit, for that photo. For that photo. And that's it. So this, I love this photo. This photo's been in an exhibition in Dundee. This photo has made it into Barrowland. This photo's made it into Barrowland book. Alison Irvin, brilliant author, wrote a book in Barrowland last year, and my photographs are through that. And
I'll put a link down.
It's an excellent book. But it's made it into that as well. And we're only allowed to shoot first 3, as always, and then you go up and sing. But I went and sat, and I was sat next to Chris Beltran, who's one of the DF TMs, and we was just watching the gig, and it got to the last song, and I knew this was going to happen. And I go into my camera bag and I get the camera out and I look at him, and he just smiles. And I just walk to the middle, underneath, so right down the middle, and underneath the mirror balls, and I know what's coming. And I thought, I'm not going to push it, I'm not going to take the piss, I'm going to take one shot.
Yeah.
And that's
that was it.
Because I wanted it. I knew, and the story is, just because you didn't get the pass doesn't mean that it's over. And it's ruined, but what it did was it gave me the opportunity to watch it and look for those moments and say, I know the photo I want. The other photos from the gig are fine. The ones in the pit, they're documentary shots of perfect for social media. But that's the one that lives on.
One that stands out.
You know?
Yeah, it's wonderful. When you sent me all the images out of your 5, there were absolutely every single one of them. But we talked about this off camera about capturing moments like that, and I've been lucky enough to capture something very, very similar. And you said she did the same. The artist Griff did the same in the Barrowland. And she walks in with her guitar, and it's looking at the people with all the mobile phones.
It's funny you should mention that. When we did the exhibition in Dundee, Keishna, brilliant creative, she's got a little art creative store in Dundee, the Creative Tank, and I was there some of the days because I don't live in Dundee, so I travelled up a few of the days, and there was a family that came in, and there was a woman, younger girl, who is getting into photography, and she was there with her dad, and they were asking questions and all the rest of it, and she got to that photo and she looked at it, and then she looked at the crowd, and then she named one of her friends and pointed at them. I went, that's whatever the girl's name was. That's you know, and it's that. It's it's the human connection of I was at that gig and I can see myself.
Yeah, then it's in the Barrowlands.
Yeah, well,
or whatever venue. You know, that's one of the what's the word? And I've covered this in a lot of the quotes and the whole of this the thing about music behind the lens. It's capturing a moment for a story and keeping something, capturing a moment that will last a lifetime, making people happy, making us happy, and it's a privilege to be in this kind of.
I totally agree, and that's probably the thread. That's where I've gotten to at this point in taking photos. Yeah, I've gone past I am now technically competent to get it sharp and properly exposed, and that's fine, but it's boring eventually, and we all have to go through that, and I've gone through that. What am I taking photos for now? What story am I telling? You can be really creative and arty, and there's some brilliant people that are better than me at that. Yeah. Or it's there's emotion, or there's a moment, and you know, and it's like the Callum Beattie photo. Every one of the photographers have got a photograph of Callum in there.
Yeah, because a lot of the photographers that I've reached out to have sent me pictures, and I think just about not everyone, but everyone's got a picture of Callum jumping. Yeah. It's
and the thing is, like the Franz Ferdinand one I was talking about, and everyone's all following. I've got a photograph, and I nearly sent it to you, and there's a huge scissor kick in the air that I've got photo.
Oh, because I think I've seen it.
Yeah, you probably have, and it's a scissor kick photo. But he's looking off to the side. Alex Papanis is looking off to the side. He's looking away from camera, but that's because everyone in the pit was all following as I walked away. I walked away to the side, so this shot's taken down the length of the pit. Right. And he's in the air.
Aye. I mean, that was at Connect Festival. I'm just going to... so, I got that one. Well, I'll put it on screen for her to see, but I'm showing you off camera. But I got that one with him at Connect Festival.
Aye, yeah.
And he's pointing at me. He's actually looking at me because he was just setting his guitar up, and he was just... Everybody was all probably looking at their cameras, and I thought, well, they were having it. I don't know, it was after the first song and the second song, or I just came on, and I just put the camera right up on towards him. And that for me was a moment.
There's so in the B-roll that I sent you, there's a camera. There's another photo from the same gig.
I should really put it to bear.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. There's a photo of him, and he's put his camera neck down into the stage. Okay. To start a song or end a song, I can't remember now because it is a blur. And that photo ended up in the Barrowland book as well.
Oh right.
So it's in the B-roll, so we'll be able to put that up on screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, the Barrowland started doing not started, done for a while, but it's becoming more prevalent, the Barrowland Hall of Fame, where the venue give an award to an artist.
Oh yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
They give an artist, and they choose who it is, and it doesn't make rhyme or reason to the public sometimes, like why is this band and not that band, and it's to do with people who spark something with the venue, and either through the staff or the way they are, or they have hit some milestone, or they've done something. It takes years to earn one. Right. And you've been in the Barrowland, you've been backstage, you know, like there's a little narrow corridor that runs between the dressing room and the stage. There is, yeah. And Kiera, C-Map.
All right, yeah, I love...
Yeah, so she was playing last month. She was playing last month.
Wonderful.
3 sold out nights, and on the last night she was getting surprised with an award. And it was Chris Beltran again, actually.
Right,
And I get phoned by the venue, like, could you come and take a photo? We're going to do it in that little space.
Right, okay.
And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to bring a flash, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And she was lovely, but it was pressure because it was like...
She is lovely, she's
It
brilliant.
was a few minutes before she hit the stage.
She's good with photographers.
So she was fully dressed, ready to go. And it was like, come in here, and there was a whole band was there, and the videographer was there doing it for her. She's got a thing called CMAT TV.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's good.
And all that. And of course, I had to use the flash, and I was so self-conscious because this guy's trying to try to video, and it's this dark corridor, and it's like, psh, 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 get the flash off. I was like, oh. You know, I wanted to apologise, you know, but it's like, I had to get the shot. I had to get the shot because the venue were like, you need to take this shot, and can you give us it, sort of thing. And so got it, and it was fine. They've got a portrait of her, and she's so happy about it, you know.
Yeah, perfect. Music photography. I mean, the question, and I've only got 2 questions in this industry. I've shortened it down, but how is music photography changing? And I think it is changing massively. How do you see it?
It depends what you think it used to be. Okay, which is a sort of cop-out answer.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you how I think it's changing. iPhones take great photos.
Yeah.
And everyone has one or an equivalent. You know, I'm not picking a side. I just mean your camera phone is bloody good, right? So lots of people can take a photograph in the crowd with their phone, and it looks really good. And that's fine. Now, you and I, professional photographer, technically will go, yes, but there's this problem with it, you can't do that and you can't do this, and it's not as good because it's computational, and we can get really geeky about the difference between smartphone photography and, you know, professional camera photography. Fine. See, if you're a young band and you get no money and you're playing gigs and you've got no money and your mate's got an iPhone and can take some photos, it gets you out of hoop.
Yep.
And then you get into the conversation of, oh, well, I don't need a photographer because my mate's got a phone. And it's like, you're going to get a photo that's good enough, and you're going to get a photo. I've heard the arrogance of, well, if you use an iPhone, you're going to get iPhone photos and all this sort of stuff. And I get it, but what are you going to do if you don't have the money? And then it gets into the conversation of, well, do you do it for free, and do you build a relationship? Because if you back enough horses, one will win the Grand National, and you end up becoming that band's photographer, and that you can build a relationship that way. But that's a bit throwing a dart and hoping it lands somewhere, right? The other side of that is, see that mate that's got an iPhone that's taking these photos, they suddenly end up with a photo pass shoved on them, and they're in the pit, and suddenly they're getting dragged out by someone because it's song 4 and you didn't know the rules. Fast forward 20 years and they're taking photographs in a house in a venue. So you need access. So is music photography changing? Yes, because I think it's way more accessible than it used to be.
Yeah.
The internet has allowed the creation of blogs and online publications, and we off camera talked about a whole lot of different publications, and I've tried to start one and had one and various different things. And it's great because it gets you access, but then you're phoning or emailing PR, and you're there. It's a lucky dip as to who gets given a pass and who doesn't get a pass. And
tell me about it.
So there's all of that, and that's become an industry in itself that it wasn't as accessible. And I've been asked by people have tapped me in the shoulder in the pit from the crowd, saying, how do I get to do that?
Oh yeah.
How do I get to do that?
Yeah, I've had a recent email from someone up through my website asking me these questions, and I've given them the advice that they need to do, how I did it, and research and network, and just talk to people.
Offer
it. Email absolutely everyone. Out of that 10 emails, you might get one answer. You might get a few people that gatekeep and might think,
and you might get no replies.
Get no replies. You'll get the rude ones. You'll get the nice ones. You just have to keep at it.
The good ones bubble up, and I mean that. I don't mean the people that are asking. I mean the people that will help.
Yeah.
The event. People know who they are, and they'll come and they'll talk and they'll share. And the industry's small, and everyone knows everyone, and you know who's good and who's not, and it's very. I love it, and I love being part of it, and I love being invited to be part of this and talk, and I want to know everyone, and I would help anyone that asked me if I could.
It's a friendly community to a point.
It needs to be. It shouldn't ever be a competition. If I don't know, we talked about Rory Barnes earlier, right? And there's Cameron Brisbane. There's all sorts of phenomenal photographers out there.
Yeah.
And I've heard other people say, "How come he got that? How come I didn't get that? And how come it's always this person or that person?" It's like, well, maybe they're nice, and maybe they're trustworthy, and people have worked with them before, and they're getting, recommendations go a great way.
Yeah, pass on from band to band, or PR, or management. Yeah. They tend to, or venues, know someone. It's a bit like, I got a contact from an old school friend, asked me to do a model shoot and do a talk, and I politely declined it, and I've passed some details of someone else that I know who would be perfect at that. Yeah. And that sometimes happens in weddings. That's right. I've also turned down band photo shoots and gigs as well, simply because I'm not going to make it, but I know of someone who can deliver. Well,
that's like, so I talked about wedding photographer Murray earlier. He's put my name forward. He's been contacted. He does shoot some gigs as well. He is a wedding photographer. Yeah. He loves music. He's obsessed with music and stuff. But he's put my name forward a few times, and I've got paid gigs out of him by recommending, and stuff. And it is all that. I also have been asked to do shoots that I'm necessarily thinking, actually, that would be better if it was a female that was taking that photo, or it was and recommend other. So I was try this person, try that person, and you kind of need to. You should. You should, because.
And it's all we talked about earlier on about somebody being comfortable with that person. Because sometimes if they're going on tours, they could be on the tour bus with them. They could be sharing bedrooms,
everything,
all sorts of things, dining with them.
But similarly, Martin, it's if I am doing a photo shoot, like a portrait before or after, that photo's only as good as how comfortable the person you're taking a photograph feels.
Right, okay.
So you need that person, you can, if you're doing something a bit extreme and they're dressing up and they're doing this and you're going for something that's different, but if you want someone to be natural and relaxed, and like as we're sitting now, stuff, that only comes across through the relationship that you've built and the personality, and you just know with some people, and I mean artists, that certain photographers, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's one, and it's one thing that I learned, industry and business. I think we all about, if you want to do this in a business and get paid, and we all know music photography ain't going to pay you. It's difficult.
I got asked last night by someone, how do I know what to charge? Right, and I think there should be more transparency.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I think, how do I know what to charge? Well, what are you shooting? And I don't mean how good are you or how much money does the artist have, because that's irrelevant.
There is websites out. I mean, there is a website. National Journalistic Things, as a breakdown. I've used it.
But my argument to this is, what's the photo for?
Right.
It's not how many hours you're spending. It's not commute or expenses. What's the photo for, and what are they doing with it? It's usage and licensing and giving them the rights, and you keep the copyright for it, obviously, but what are they using the photo for? If they're using the photo because they want to put a post up on Instagram to say we did this gig, what are they getting from it? Apart from exposure, and you've all heard the joke, exposure doesn't pay the bills. No. But you charge different things depending on what you're delivering.
Yeah.
It's not I charge X per day, every day, no matter what it is and who you are. Because that's nonsense. You're not going to get work. That's not. No, that's not how the industry works. Not at all.
No, I know. But you have to have a good idea of how you can discuss these things.
You have to be comfortable doing it.
Comfortable with it.
But you've said something that I'm thinking. I think you probably articulated it in a better example than me, which is you're not getting. You need to not think about it as, I'm getting paid to go and take photos. It's, I'm creating something for a purpose. Yeah. And what is the value of that purpose? Yeah. So a tour poster, a t-shirt or whatever, if they're then merchandising that, what are they making from it? And it's not that, well, that's mine and that's my money. No, that's not how it works. That's arrogant and wrong and not where I'm going with it. It's what is the value of the thing you're creating, and that's what you're licensing and get the cost. The fact that your job as a photographer, you go and take photos anyway as a matter of course.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. That's what gives you your zen and your moment and everything. So yeah. Is the industry changing? Yes, I think the availability of camera equipment and it's been many years obviously with good phone cameras and everything else, so people get a feel for it. They're not spending with your little Panasonic Lumix in the crowd, but people start the crowd, the little points and shoots and stuff.
I think as video's becoming more and more important, I think you have to have a mixture of being able to do video. I do music videos as well.
It is interesting, I have been asked by PR and stuff, do you do video as well? And I don't. I don't, and if it's, do you want me to shoot raw video and then I'm sending it to someone to edit? Great, because that's a skill that I haven't learned and I could learn it, but there's great people out there, and it's photography and capturing a moment and what it felt like for me. I love watching reels and various different stuff on social media. I get it, I know why they want it personally, and it's not I will die on a hill on this type thing. It's if I'm taking photographs, I don't want to also be thinking about taking video. I want to be able to focus on what I'm trying, no pun, focus on what I'm trying to do and see the moment without also, I should be taking video right now, and because you'll get average video and average photos as a result of that. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to better video if it's a person who's a videographer, or better photos if it's a person who's a photographer. But the industry is changing. The creative side of it, everything is being driven by social media and the visual side of it, which is great if you're a photographer, because a long time ago, a venue like the Barrowland, the photos weren't that important. Whereas everything has very much changed and they do want the imagery.
Going into the question, has access changed over time?
Yes. Yes, it has. In some ways it's easier to find out how to get access, in some ways it's harder because everyone can find out how it is to get access. And we talked about a 17 strong pit for Franz Ferdinand. There needs to be limits and control. So if 20 people are asking for something that's got an allocation of 6, you need to get lucky. And that's hard. I mean, as a house photographer, you would think the house automatically gets a pass. No,
I know that as well, being a house photographer.
They don't automatically get a pass.
I've been rejected so many times recently.
Well, I shot Beluga Lagoon last night in Barrowland, and I walked in and they had no support. They were on at 8 for 50 minutes, 10-minute toilet break, and then an hour was what was scheduled. And I walked in, and when you see a band that are doing 2 sets like that, the general consensus is first 3 first set, first 3 second set. That's it. And I walked in and they were like, do what you like.
Wow.
You can shoot all night. And I was like, shit. So I was like, first 3 in the pit, and then they were like, no, just shoot what you like. You can be in the pit all night if you want. I
had that at Rewind with Brian Ferry, Rocks and Music. You'd have thought he'd have been restricting, but no, full.
The first time I got that was the Pogues in the bars. And I'm so grateful for it. They were incredible. Nadine Shah, one of Nadine Shah photos is in my B-roll that I gave you. I love it. And Iona Zajac and Iona Zajac, some of the people that are now artists in their own right who are working with the Pogues, to be able to capture them throughout the show, because the show was very special. It ended up, they played a number of nights at the bars, and it ended up being the anniversary of the death of Kirsty MacColl, and it was just before Christmas. In the gig, and this was the Mary Wallopers.
I photographed them, got them at Transmit.
And Iona Zajac was the support, and Spider from the Pogues came out, and the Mary Wallopers, who were some of the band, but some of the Pogues, even the Pogues are now touring. So what they basically did was recreated this entire moment, and in the Barrowland, because Barrowland is the first venue that Fairy Tale in New York was ever played.
Right, with
Kirsty and Shane, obviously. and there was this moment all of a sudden where I'm standing and I'm allowed to shoot, and I've got this camera, and it's like, it's a moment in history, because they're playing the song potentially for the last time ever in the venue it was first ever played.
Yeah. It's a certainly emotional moment, because both Shane and Kirsty are both no longer with us.
Correct.
And
it was a Mary Walliper's gig, but just because they on the Pogues tour were playing with the Pogues, Spider had come over.
Brilliant.
And Iona Zajac is playing with them now as well, but she was the support to the gig, so everyone was in the room, and they were just like, let's do it for the encore.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant.
And it was Simon Murphy, Simon Murphy, he told me, I'd met him in the pit, and he's like, hey, you want to hang about for the end, because I've just been talking to, this is what's happening. I was like,
those moments are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So we're getting nearer we're getting to the last section. It's called reflection.
We're on reflection.
We're going to reflection. It's the last part of the interview. I'll give you the two questions, and then we'll just have a chat.
Sure.
Okay. So the two questions are: what are you still chasing, and what keeps you coming back?
What am I still chasing, and what keeps me coming back? I'm going to turn them around slightly, but I'll answer the question. Instead of what keeps me coming back, what would it be like if it all stopped today? Right? And what it would be like if it all stopped today is I wouldn't have an outlet, and I wouldn't feel like I've got another job. I'm not just painting.
Like most of us all.
And I've got a family and all that stuff. I've got all those things, and that's like, as a creative outlet, as an artist, as someone, I used to draw when I was young.
Me too.
Drawing became photography because it's easier to draw with a camera.
That's the way I look at it, funny enough.
I'm not saying my uncle came up with it, the uncle who taught me. But one of the quotes he used to say to me is, photography is painting with light. Yeah. Right? And if he did come up with it, brilliant. If not, I want to know who he stole it from, because it's brilliant. It's exactly right. That's what you're doing. If it all stopped tomorrow and I could never take photos again, life would be hell. Yeah. It would be horrible. There would be no creative outlet. I need to take photos, and I love that, everything we've talked about in this past period of time. So what keeps me coming back is the desire to do it. Yeah. What keeps me coming back is, what would life be like without it? People have said to me, oh, you're so lucky to be in the pit taking photographs of this band that I've bought tickets to go and see. Yes, I know. That's not lost on me. Oh, yeah. Before we get into Barrowland and all the rest of it, just the fact that you get to go and be in close proximity to all these people and make images of famous folk, you know, that is a privilege, and it's not lost, and I don't take it for granted. And that's what makes me keep coming back, is I want to keep doing it, but I don't think I'm done. I don't think I'm anywhere close to done. I think I'm learning. I think that, am I a good photographer? Well, technically, yes. Technically, I can take photos, but I'm not finished. I've got lots to learn. Well, I learn every day.
I'm always learning, because in this project that I'm finding, certainly with video and sound, I'm learning that, and I think as people watch the videos, they'll see it progress, slightly change in the way I'm animating it, how I'm videoing it, how I'm processing it, and I'm coming up with new ideas, and I'm thinking, I need to change that, and I've added wee things in for people to look at in the video, which we'll not mention. And it's just to draw the person in as well, as much as me, because I'm being a creative person. And
so you asked two questions, and I turned them around slightly, but what have I still to get? It's funny, as a gig goer, as someone who bought tickets and went to gigs, I've been going to gigs since I was 12. Wow. Yeah. So it's a long time, and I had a bucket list of bands I wanted to see. Yeah. And all bar one, I pretty much did it. I've done it, and it's funny because the one is an 80s hair metal rock band called Poison, right?
Oh, I know them. Yeah.
Right? So the chances of them coming and playing in Glasgow are slim. Yeah. Considering they don't tour anymore and they're all in their 60s, but you never know. But they were the one that eluded me. I've seen everyone I wanted to see, from all the greats to all the sort of random small bands. Right. Yeah. Thing. So now it's like, do I have a photo bucket list? No, I don't go, I must shoot Paul McCartney, I must shoot whomever. I've shot some amazing names, not like yourself, but some amazing names, stuff, and I love having them in the portfolio. But I don't want a portfolio that says, look at all these famous people I've shot.
Yeah.
I want a portfolio that says, look at that photo I took.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't matter who the photo, it doesn't matter, but it's not about who the photo's of, it's of the photo and the room and the emotion and the people. You must have had it 100 times, right? You're walking through and you've got like a 70 to 200 on and it's all set up to take a photo, and some guy goes, oh mate, take my picture. And I'm like, well, hold on, I'll run over there.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Yeah.
But I've started, after the first day or whatever, going downstairs and putting a small lens on and actually taking photos of the punters.
Yeah.
Folks say, oh, take my picture, and I'm like, yes.
Again, you're creating history.
Stand there at the top of the, at the top of the stairs in the bars, there's a neon wheel above. Right, you probably have seen it and not known you've seen it. There's a neon barrow wheel at the top, and that's the only surviving artefact from the first Barrowland in the fire.
Oh, right.
And they put that there, so everyone walks. It's almost like a benediction, and you sort of walk under on your way in. And I take people there and say, stand there, and they're all going, yeah, and I'm just taking pictures. So I've only just started doing it, but it's like,
it's a book.
It could be, but it's also that as a house photographer, yeah, fine, Franz Ferdinand, I've got your 3 photos and I've got some good photos and they played, but it's, the venue's like a football team. People have an opinion of it and they all want to be part of it, and they're all, you know, and
that's brilliant.
So
I like that idea. Absolutely brilliant. It's just that creative mindset. It's just seeing ideas, capture that. So we're going into the last part of the interview. I ask everyone this: how have you felt being interviewed and being on the other side of the camera?
I don't like getting my photo taken.
Well, we'll be doing that shortly, but yeah, I see that.
I don't like getting my photo
I'm the same. That's why I'm behind here.
I think it's quite common. However, for the interview, great, because I'm having a genuine conversation with someone that I think is passionate and it's been dead easy. Yeah, I've got no problem with. It's ironic. I did all the stuff with the bars, all the TV shows and various things with them, and I've never watched them.
Right. Okay.
I've flicked through and went, oh right, there, right, okay, that's there, it's fine. You know, it exists, but I've never watched it properly. And everyone else says, oh, you were brilliant, you were this, you were that. And I'm thinking, I don't want to.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed chatting with you. You've been absolutely brilliant. Some wonderful stories, wonderful images. Can't wait to see what you bring moving forward. Anyway, let's end the interview there.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you very much.
Gareth, Third Mile Photography. I'll make sure I mention all that.
I never did explain Third Mile.
Well, you can explain Third Mile just before we call this.
No, we'll leave it hanging.
We'll
leave it hanging as a future episode.
Do you know, it's a question that I was going through my head and I was going to ask you. Tell me about Third Mile, but do you know what? I like the fact that you're keeping it like that. I do.
Okay.
Let's leave.
There is a story behind it. I'm not at the wind up. There is a story behind it. Why Third Mile? So we'll share that some other time.
But yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
I've enjoyed it, mate.
Me too.
Thanks for coming. It's brilliant. And we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.
Bye bye for now.
Cheers.
Bye bye.